Yeah, Neil, thanks for joining us. 0-0 it finished. Could you have won that at the death, or is a draw a fair result?
I think overall a draw's probably a fair result, but you always feel, I think, they probably had one or two flashed across the box and we had to get a block in the box. I think Ruben's chance and Kyle's chance were great chances. I think Reevesy had one as well. So, yeah, it was a tough game. You know, they stopped us. They had great energy. They stopped us getting any rhythm in our game. We played 2 up because we wanted to try and stretch the game and cause them a problem if they pressed us and wanted to go 2v2 at the back. Probably didn't get enough joy out of that as the game went on. So we tried to mix it up, and every time we changed shape, they kind of changed and matched us up a bit, and it became hard to find them chances. But when you've got 2 good teams that kind of respect what each other are doing, you end up cancelling each other out.
Yeah, it felt like commentating on a bit of a chess match at times in that one. And I wonder how much respect did go into it from both teams, and whether or not, I wonder if you and your opposite number, Gary Johnson, had a similar team talk at half-time, which was, I know you got to respect them, but let's try to be a bit more expansive in the second half.
Yeah, I think the only reason we did loads of work, because they're good at pressing, they're very, very good, and we study the opposition. So rather than, like we normally do, we try and play from the back, and we knew that they would set good traps, and we didn't want to do stupid things in the early part of the game. So we wanted to try and isolate them 2v2 and cause them problems there. And that I think we never quite got the game going trying to do that. But I thought as the game wore on, we become stronger. Certainly last 20 minutes. But it's hard. There's 11 good players against 11 good players that have, they're at the top of the league for a reason, and we just didn't quite have that final pass or that final bit of magic to break them down.
It sounds daft to say, because I think that was Notts' 15th league game today, and you can get tricked into thinking that you must be further into the season because it's near the end of January. But given that they were 15 points clear, and yes, you've got 3 games in hand on them, were you ever looking at today and thinking, well, it's not must win if you want to still get automatic promotion, but it's must not lose?
I never really thought about it either way. I don't think like that. I just think the set a team up, what's the best team I think I can put out in the shape to win the game. And I don't, I said to the lads even on Friday in training, I'm not scared to lose the game, and that's why we had 2 forwards on the pitch, 2 sort of attacking midfielders. But then, we make them aware of how quick they are on the counter-attack and how skillful their players are in behind the striker, and we've got to close that space down. And like you say, when a team like that has got a threat that they can hurt you, you end up, it can make your going forward a little bit less fluent, and that's probably what happened today. A
couple of the players were left a little bloodied, particularly Richard Brindley. How's he doing?
It's not good. He's, his nose is right out across his face, so it's not good. Don't know if it's broken or not, but it's a bad one. And Connell's got blood on him, and Alex Lacey's got blood on him. But it's a National League game in the end of January, and that's what it's a good one.
Did you have any complaints about how Richard Brindley picked up the injury? It was not necessarily a high foot. Yeah. Richard Brindley stooped a little.
I think there's some ball drops in the box. I'd be disappointed if my striker pulled out trying to volley it in the back of the net. So, and the credit has to go to Richard Brindley for putting his head where it needed to be, and he won't be feeling that way at the moment, but he did a great job for the team there.
Kyle Wootton kicking himself a little bit for that chance at the end.
Yeah, it was one of them games when it's tight and it's nip and tuck. It's just you just want that one moment to fall to the right player, and we had one with Ruben and one with Kyle, certainly in the second half, and never quite come off. But I can't fault the effort, I can't fault the tempo. If they're the best team in the league, then we're not a million miles behind. We've just got to try and be one of the most consistent teams for the last sort of 29 games.
How hopeful are you that you actually get to play those 29 games?
At the moment, I'm very hopeful. I do believe we'll get there.
Why?
But,
can I say?
I just think that it's the best option if it's safe. And again, that's the big question. And I'm not sure that safety is the issue of why we might not play it. I think at the moment the issue's more about finances and people questioning whether they're going to get their money to keep going. So I think if it's safe to play, then we should certainly try and play. And I think the National League are trying to come up with an option that gives the clubs a chance of finishing the season. I think writing off the season, there's still contracts to pay. There's still, we're earning money from streaming for games like today. So I still think there's ways of driving through this. Obviously, if safety becomes an issue, then that's a different matter.
You're as much of a spokesman for this football club as anyone, and while the issue of finances doesn't necessarily always fall under your remit, I wonder whether or not you've spoken with Jason Turner, the chief executive, about whether the club would be willing to take on a loan from the DCMS which has been offered.
I haven't asked that question. I've asked Jason. Jason's a very knowledgeable man. I've always asked him what his gut feeling is or what he feels coming out of a meeting, and he certainly hasn't sort of made me worry at the moment. But who knows what's in the future? At the moment, I think, if the government are saying it's safe for us with protocols in place to keep playing, then that's my main concern. The finances will be totally out of my control.
We saw Ini Effiong make his debut today. I wonder how you rated his performance. He gave him an hour. And also I wonder whether or not you're still looking to bring more players into the club.
We are looking to bring more. Obviously, we were trying to get a left back in that we thought we had over the line that sort of fell through at the last minute. So
Is that one gone now?
At the moment, it looks very much like, so we've had to move on, and that was through no fault of ours. It was signed, sealed and delivered until the last minute. So unfortunately that's happened. We're looking at that, and obviously we're keeping an eye on the centre-back situation. Obviously with Ben being out for one more game, and Connell's been carrying a slight knee injury, so we're keeping an eye on that, and we're trying to make sure we've got players ready that if something happened, we could move on that as well.
And just on your thoughts on Ini Effiong's, the hour that he's given?
Yeah, sorry. Everything I thought he would give to us, and it's hard because he's up against the best team in the league. So we probably weren't as fluent as we have been in games, but I thought when we did play up to him, you can see his strength and his power and the fact that he can hold the ball up and bring people into play with his chest. So, but he's actually more of a runner than people give him credit for. So, it's never easy just to come in and click straight away. But I was pleased. I just felt it wasn't so much, bringing him off because he wasn't playing well. It was more a case of I felt that as the game wore on, we might start getting more spaces in midfield, and therefore try to get Ruben in there as a number 10.
And just finally, after drawing 0-0 against the team who are top of the table by some distance at the moment, does it leave you more confident or less confidence that you're very much in this title race?
It's going to be difficult to win the league. They're well ahead. It's not out of the question by any means, but we need to find that momentum we had before the first lockdown. That where you can just see it building, and sometimes a 0-0 followed by a victory along the way. We've got some tough stretches of away games where I think we play sort of 6 out of 8 away games, so they're going to be the testers. It's always hard to win away from home, and if we can find that momentum, then the title's not out of question. But certainly the main aim is to be in and around it and keep going, so when we get to them last 10 games, we're in with a shout.
Well done today, appreciate your time.
Thank you.